this morning, I've got some missing bolts already. I've got 2 missing bolts. So I've got one on the little bracket hanger there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off one of these just so that I can take one and make sure it's the right size. Go get some washers and stuff. And then I've got missing bolts over here. So I don't know what the deal is, if they're just all falling off with vibrations or whatnot. But we've got a missing bolt right there. It's dirty again. Literally it's raining again right now. It's been non-stop rain. So we've got a little bit of a break. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off on this side. I'm gonna take off one of these to take with me as well. Grab the right size. Yeah, well, I'll just grab the impact. We'll grab the impact. I'll be back. Let's see how easy this will be, or difficult it will be.
Brand new fancy tools.
Yeah, I got this. This is a Vivor. I'll have to show you. I have a feeling that none of these bolts on this truck have any kind of Loctite. Not that I don't know if that's a common thing or not, that they should use Loctite, but I know I will be using Loctite to make sure that, huh?
Put Loctite after this?
Yeah, I'm gonna put Loctite on everything. To make sure.
Nice and locked. Tight.
Correct.
Correct, I mean, it's still kind of crazy though, it just fell out.
Yeah, I don't want to knock anybody, but there's no reason for there's really no reason why we should have loose bolts and stuff. None. IMO, which stands for in my opinion. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna grab a couple of these so I have some extras. We're gonna go grab one of the other ones. Oh, let me show out this little knife though. Look at this. It's a very nice little knife. Check out what it says there. Super nice. Got this for Christmas from Keystone. There we go. I'm not a knife guy at all. There are some guys that know everything about knife brands. I don't know. But I believe Kershaw is a very good brand. At least I hope it will. At least that's what they told me when they gave it to me as a Christmas gift. So we just got a fresh tank of fuel. Got refilled. I'm actually in the market for a 1,000-gallon tank. So this one I rent, and I'm renting for about $250 a month. But if I buy one, I found some for about $2,500 for 1,000 gallons. And if I get a 1,000-gallon tank, they'll give me a discount because they're gonna be coming less. They'll give me a discount of 20 cents per gallon. Plus I don't have to pay the rental fee for the can or for the cube. So I found some for about $2,500, but I gotta go pick them up. So I'm thinking in 10 months I'll make my money back. Less than that with a 20 cents discount per gallon. So this one has a lock nut, and this one just has a nut with a lock washer. So and while we're at it, we might just look around and make sure we're not missing have any other loose bolts or anything like that. Kind of like what Dylan and I were talking about, where we should really grab a marker pen and just be able to mark them all, make sure they're nice and tight. Kind of like what they do here, right? You know, you mark it so you know that it hasn't come loose. So when we got stuck in the mud, you know, I don't know, this is a Kenworth probably designed, and for road trucks this is okay, but for us that we're A, getting stuck in the mud, or B, at the landfill all the time with off-road and at the landfill on top of trash, this is really kind of low, and I knew it when I put it on. It's meant for the top of the plate to be here, and then, you know, the bottom just kind of hang. The second I put it on, I knew, I even said it, I was like, dude, that's kind of low. I don't really like how low it is, but we'll give it a shot. And sure enough, that's the first thing that came off. So these are the little, I know I put this on, I have to find, this is a little Allen wrench with a little hole inside of it. I don't even know what you call that. The little thing. So I'd have to find one of those just to get this off now. License plate didn't break, it just bent, and it somehow came through the holes in the plate. So look, this is the Vivor little package I got. You got kind of everything you need, little emergency tool set. I honestly didn't even remember I ordered it. So I ordered it when I ordered all the other stuff for stocking your toolbox, and it came late because it probably comes from China, but whatever. So I just got it. Kind of nice though.
Last exit before Arlington, heading to East Chase and Fort Worth.
Man, Arlington's no joke. They don't play.
Yeah, hell no, they don't. I knew it too, but I didn't know. If you turn your flashers on at a customer's house, make sure you turn them off. That was the reason for him pulling me over. I had my blue and yellow lights flashing, and I told him I turned them on at my last customer's house, and I guess I must have forgot to turn them off and did not realize they were on. But he gave me a warning, but he did an air brake test. He checked the brakes, my tire tread. He did everything. And then there was one thing he said. He said we need reflective tape on the back of the truck facing the outside.
On the bumper?
Where, like this, where the side marker light is, maybe like one piece of red tape above it and below it.
Side marker light.
There's
on the side?
On the rear side.
By the tires?
Kind of somewhere on the back, like the back bumper, where the side marker light is.
Side marker light?
Somewhere on the side.
They gotta make their money somehow.
They tried everything, but everything was good. And thank God, like, I mean, I'm a friendly dude and nice and like respectful, so I wasn't like, man, da, 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 da. So I was like, yes, sir. I was like, that was totally an accident on my part. I was like, I turned them on at my customers, and I guess when I left, I forgot to turn them off.
So Texas code, I looked it up, and I was told before, and I looked it up before, you can have blue and amber lights on a dumpster or a trash truck while you're picking up and dropping off at a location. But driving down the highway is where it says you cannot operate. And so the only reason, and I don't even like those blue lights, I never wanted the blue lights, and when I took it over to Jim's, all he had was the blue and ambers. Well, he had ordered them and he told me they were in, and when I went to go have them installed, he said, oh shit, he realized that they were blue and amber and not white and amber. I wanted white and amber because I believe that's what's on the Mac. Blue as well, right?
Yeah, blue.
We gotta get rid of all that shit and just put ambers.
Yeah, because that's what he said the problem was, the blue. He said the blue.
Yeah, so they'll give you a sticker, and it's good for usually the year. It's usually like color coded by year, and it'll say that it's been inspected, and that you know, if another cop sees that, they don't even have to pull you over. Usually, I mean, I don't know what. That's my understanding. Here's what we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna do a pretty in-depth video of everything that you need to know to start the dumpster business. Bottom line, that's what holy shit! I have done a video before of start here. Basically, if you want to start in the dumpster business, this is where you should start. And this is going to be an updated version of that video 3 years later, because that was over 3 years ago that I made that video. And I've learned a lot since then. There have been other options of vendors or of equipment or whatever that I want to update. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about everything that you need to know if you want to start in the dumpster business. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, smash the notification bell. First things first though, if you want to start in this business and you don't know what to do or where to start, make sure you join the Dumpster Rentals 101 Facebook page. The link will be down below. Lots of good guys on there. It's a 101 page. So for any of the big heads that want to go in there and think, oh, you know, I am, you know, so much better than thou, or I'm so much better than you because, you know, I'm such a big company, whatever, you can get out. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a Dumpster Rentals 101 page where anybody should be able to go in there And no question is a dumb question, right? People always say that, but then all of a sudden you see a dumbass question come through and you're like, dude, this guy's a dumb. No, I'm just kidding. But Dumpster Rentals 101 page, make sure you guys get on that page, because that page will help you out. Before you guys, I'll get messages all the time of questions and stuff. I can't answer all the DMs that I get or emails that I get, but a lot of times, a lot of those questions can be asked in the Dumpster Rentals 101 group, and there's a lot more people in there smarter than I am that can answer those kinds of questions for you. So if there's something in this video that I did not answer for you, or if you have another option in this video for the things that I mentioned, please put them in the comments below, because after this video, we're going to do more and more videos of answering questions, answering your guys' questions. So if you have a question, ask in the comments, and in future videos, I will be responding to questions in the comments on the video, if that makes sense. First things first, you want to get started in this industry. What do I suggest, truck or trailer? And that's going to be a big one. And it really depends on you. And I know that's a crappy answer, but at the end of the day, it really depends on your finances. Like what does your personal, what do your personal finances look like? Can you afford a roll-off truck? Do you buy a used one? Do you buy a new one? There's lots of questions. What would I recommend though is, it doesn't matter to me. Like, it matters what you have available. It matters what you can afford, not one or the other, because I think that you can still make money. You can make the same amount of money in a pickup truck and trailer, in my opinion, that you can in a medium duty truck. Like the Mac that's sitting right over there, okay? If I had a 2500 truck, pickup truck, and a trailer, I could technically make the same amount of money that truck makes with a much less payment, much lower insurance probably. Is it more of a pain in the butt? Absolutely. Is it harder to do? Yes. Will it take you longer to deliver a dumpster? Yes. However, can it be done? Yes. Do you risk capital, money? Do you risk your credit and just buy a truck and 10 dumpsters? Or do you, let's say you already have a pickup truck. If you already have a pickup truck, well then your least expensive route is going to be 100% to buy a trailer and use that pickup truck. All right, so let's talk about brand trailers. Just got off the phone with a potential customer who was thinking about buying a trailer, and he wanted to know his options between a hook lift trailer and a cable trailer. And again, there's two different options, right? For those of you guys that are brand spanking new, in my opinion, there's going to be two main options: hook lift or cable, right? So hook lift over here is basically what I operate. I operate hook lifts like this one right here. I operate trucks that have hooks on them that literally pick up dumpsters via the hook and pull the dumpster on. And then you've got your traditional cable pull. It's literally a winch and a cable, or a reeving system and a cable that pulls the dumpster onto the truck. That is going to be your conventional way of doing dumpsters. I went the hook way mainly because of opportunity. I just happened to have an opportunity to buy a hook lift truck at the time versus a cable, and I also know that it's a lot easier, in my opinion, to operate a hook lift, and it's a lot faster, in my opinion. Now you're gonna get a lot of old school cable guys and even new school cable guys who are like, no, cable's better because, you know, it's been around for hundreds of years and it's how we've always done it, and or it's much stronger, it's more reliable, it's this, it's that. This hook right here is 52,000 pounds. If I need to pull more than 52,000 pounds up onto my truck, I've got more issues than the hook or cable issue, right? When you're talking about trailers, you also have those options. You have hook lift trailer or cable trailer, right? And as far as brands are concerned, I'm gonna tell you 100%. If you, at this point, there's only one hook lift brand that I would consider, and that would be Cam-Concepts. I have heard of another company, Swap Loader. I actually have one of their units on the Mack truck that they're offering hook lift trailers now, but at this point, it wouldn't be something that I would recommend just because it's very limited. They just started offering the trailer. It's brand new on the market. They only offer 36-inch hook height, not 54-inch, which is what I would recommend. They only offer 14-foot trailers, and it's battery powered versus engine powered or like gas engine powered. A few of those things. Those are the main things. Not knocking them whatsoever. I would imagine it's still a very, very good trailer. But me personally, I would just say the Cam-Concept, and I'm also a distributor, so but that's not the right reason why. It's just a better option because it's got the gas-powered unit on board. It's got more options as far as longer, trailers if you want to go bigger. I would personally go with a 14-foot trailer with a 16-foot dumpster, or even a 16-foot trailer with the 16 and 18-foot dumpsters. But that's your hook lift. So if eventually you want to be in the hook lift world, then I would say absolutely go with a hook lift trailer if you're going to start off with a trailer, right? If you're going to go the cable route, right, there's several good options out there. And I will name a few. You probably want to go standard rail. There are many people and many successful companies that are non-standard rail, and they're doing just fine. But standard rail, in my opinion, is the easiest way to go. It's the most scalable way to go. It's not the only way to go. That's the thing. There are 100 different ways to skin a cat, and in this business, that's also 100% true. So you can go non-standard rail, meaning if you buy a roll-off trailer, I've got one out front, and we'll put some video of it now. But I've got one up front. If you go with a Max D trailer, if you want to buy their dumpsters, you've got to buy non-standard rail dumpsters, meaning that their dumpsters are proprietary to their system. So a standard rail means that if you have a standard rail system, I could pull up a dumpster that fits on your system and it fits on mine because both of ours are standard rail, meaning it's the same width, right, at the end of the day. So with that being said, standard rail trailer manufacturers are going to be your Keystone. I've got one up front as well. It's a Keystone bumper pull, 14K GVWR 14-foot trailer, and I can get you those if you'd like. But if you wanted to go, you've also got several other options, right? You've got Nedlands that's been around for, I believe, 30 plus years. They sell a trailer. I believe they're up in Wisconsin. I would recommend. I've heard nothing but good things about their trailers. So take a look at those if you want to weigh your options. Evolution Welding out of Miami, out of Florida, builds a great trailer. Take a look at that one. That's a very good cable pull option. So you've got Keystone, Nedlands, and I go like this because that's where they are in the country. But Keystone down here in Texas, Nedlands up in Wisconsin, Evolution Welding over in Florida. Those are three really good options for standard rail trailers that they all offer onboard gas-powered engines. So between all four of those options, right, we've got the hook lift trailer that American AF Trailers sells. We've got Keystone trailers, which American AF Trailers sells. We've got Evolution Welding and Nedlands as well. Those are all going to be right around the same price range because they're more higher end, more heavy duty, more commercial grade trailers. A little bit different than your consumer grade trailers, which are your very inexpensive ones that are really built very cheaply, in my opinion. I used to own one of those. A Lone Star trailer, I would never recommend. Not because I'm against the brand. I love the brand. I like Lone Star. But the trailer I personally had was it was a very, very, very consumer grade, inexpensive build trailer. I got what I paid for at the end of the day, right? So if you don't mind very thin metal, if you don't mind it possibly breaking on you like it did on me, if it snapped in half because there's too much weight, just lots of issues, well then go with that route. But at the end of the day, if you really want quality, if you want to learn from my mistakes, I would say those are your main options. You've got one more option that I would recommend, and I've seen their trailers in person, is Cougar. Cougar makes a really good standard rail trailer. However, I believe they're only making them winch, which is powered off your battery or your truck. I prefer it having an onboard engine, just way more heavy duty. I had for a little while a Texas Pride standard rail trailer. That was a beast of a trailer. So I've got zero issues with Texas Pride standard rails. I would stay away from Texas Pride non-standard rails. When I say I had zero issues, I had issues. I had too much overhang, very hard to dump. So maybe not so true. But was it a very stout trailer? 100%. It picked up what it was capable of and a lot more. So there's that. Let's talk about pickup trucks. What kind of truck would I recommend? That's a big one. That's a controversial one, another controversial one. Why? Because everybody has their favorite brand. So I'm not gonna tell you about your brand. I drive Dodges. I like Dodge. Can you do it with a Ford? I guess. Probably can't do it with a Cybertruck. That's probably your updated video from last time. Cybertrucks weren't out back then. I would try it with a Cybertruck, but no. Do it with a 3/4 ton truck or more, right? You've got to make sure so there's a video I made about GVWRs and knowing your GVWR and knowing if you're over CDL or under CDL. So I'm gonna link that up here somewhere. Watch that video because you're gonna want to stay with a 3/4 ton truck and probably a 14 to 16K GVWR trailer to keep you under CDL in most states. Check with your own state for more information, but can you do it with a gas truck? I did for a couple years. So, you know, for all you die-hard diesel guys, which I love diesel trucks, don't get me wrong, I've got one now. But I was able to do it with a Hemi, you know, a Dodge Ram 2500 Hemi. So it was doable. So, you know, I'm not one to say, oh, you can't do it with a gas truck. You can definitely do it with a gas truck. If you do it with anything bigger than a 2500 or a 3/4 ton truck, well, then you're risking going over and being CDL. So make sure that you know those risks, right? Make sure that you know that you might have to have your CDL. You might need to get a DOT and live in that world there for a little bit, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but you want to avoid that kind of stuff. All that paperwork, the extra insurance, all that stuff. I personally did it with a Ram 2500, so successfully. I started out with a cargo trailer and a pickup truck. Okay, so you're gonna get a lot of guys that want to talk down to people who are out there hustling, and I don't buy into that. I mean, if you're hustling, if you want to do it with a cargo trailer, if you want to do it with a dump trailer, if you want to get in this industry and say you're renting dumpsters to customers, driveway friendly dumpsters, because you've got a dump trailer and you're delivering it on wheels, there's nothing wrong with that. So again, some of you guys are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. I have no qualms. I have no issues with the guys that are out there hustling. You want to call a dump trailer a dumpster? Go for it. I did, and that's how I scaled. Some people kind of tend to forget where they came from. You know, once they see success, or once they see that they're, you know, doing something, or once they see that their business has grown, they tend to knock down or put down the other guy who's basically just about following in his own footsteps, in the other guy's footsteps. And they want to knock him down. And they want to talk down to him. We all know that guy, right? On social media for the most part. We all know those people that just do that. And I cannot stand seeing that when all of a sudden people just talk down, oh, get a real truck, get a real trailer, or get a real dumpster, or roll-off truck, whatever. Sometimes we got to remember where we came from. I came from a cargo trailer and a pickup truck. Can you be successful? 100%. It's all about you and your hustle and how hard you're going to put into work. And sometimes there's a little bit of luck too, right? What doors, what opportunities are coming your way, and what opportunities do you take, right? Because a lot of guys also are scared to jump into something. And I'm also 100%. If you've got an opportunity and it presents itself, do what you can to take that opportunity, because you never know where that's going to lead you. Don't knock on the trailers. Don't knock on the roll-offs. Don't knock on the dump trucks or the cargo trailers and none of that stuff. Hell, if you want to get in this business with a U-Haul van, go rent a U-Haul van. If you've got a job down the road that is for junk removal or whatever, and you want to go service it, but you don't have a truck, go rent you a U-Haul truck. You know how many U-Haul trucks we see at the landfill all the time? It sucks for them because they have to do everything by hand. They get stuck in the mud, whatever. Sometimes we're kind of laughing, not going to lie. But I would hate to be the next person that rents that U-Haul, you know, moving my family's furniture around after you had like some hoarder house full of crap in there. But at the end of the day, it happens, and it happens all the time. And that guy is out there hustling and making money while all of us are sitting there kind of just laughing at him. And that's bullshit to me. So keep that in mind. Don't knock on a little guy. You can get started with whatever you have readily available to you. You don't have to go out and buy a big ass roll-off truck. You know, you don't have to go out and buy a brand new pickup truck. You know, I had a piece of junk F350 that I was hauling flatbed that I just bought. I don't even know how much I bought it for. Probably $1,500. And I was rolling around with that for a little bit. Made money with it. The other thing, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you got new equipment, old equipment, expensive equipment, or cheap equipment. You're going to be servicing your shit, right? You're going to be servicing your equipment. This is a brand new truck, not even 2 months old. And here I am replacing lost bolts. All right, so you're watching this video and you're wondering what's the first thing you should do, I'm not gonna lie to you. Did I start this company all legal and have my LLC at first? No, I started it as a side hustle. And if you go back and watch some of my first videos, you'll know that. I started it as a side hustle, which then became a business. But do you want to go legal? Do you want to get your LLC first? Get your LLC. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Where do you get your LLC from? Well, I did it through LegalZoom. So you can file all your legal paperwork, all your state paperwork through LegalZoom, get you an EIN number, which is an employee identification number, through the IRS, and then get you a bank account with your EIN number and your articles of incorporation. You'll be able to take that paperwork, go to the bank, and set up your bank account. Very simple to do. You could literally do it like right now, like this afternoon. Like, it takes an hour, if not less. That's step one. Then step two is, if you want to go legal, is you're going to want a commercial insurance. Lots of guys decide to not get commercial insurance, and that's pretty damn risky, because if something were to happen and you were to get in an accident, well, I guarantee you that they're going to come after you and everything that you own, especially if you're at fault. So getting commercial insurance is super important. If they found out that you were working, getting paid, and you didn't have commercial insurance, you're using your personal insurance, yeah, you'd be held liable and you could lose everything. So where do you get commercial insurance from? Well, I've got the guy for that. It took me about 6 years to find somebody that specializes in the dumpster industry. I would highly recommend you giving Toby Stubbs a call with Wisdom Insurance. I'll put his information down below. Give him a call. He will get you set up. You could technically call any other insurance broker, but sometimes they don't know this industry. They don't know the ins and outs. So finding somebody who knows this industry can get you really good discounts and stuff like that is kind of important. So I would recommend giving him a call.
This is where he said, whenever I got pulled over by Arlington DOT, he got me. Y'all heard me on the phone most likely, but I was riding with my strobes on, not knowing. Normally I turn them off, but there's red reflective tape right here on the side of the truck. But he says there has to be some kind of red reflective tape on the back of your truck on the side. So he said above my side marker light, right here somewhere, or a piece here and two there. That's what he says. I asked him, what about this red reflective tape? He said, no, that covers the back of the truck. There has to be something at the rear of the truck on the side. So he gave me a warning for that, and then my strobe. So, but yeah, this red reflective tape doesn't count for the back of the truck. So now I guess we'll put some red reflective tape when I get back from Dallas.
All right, so we're about to go to the store. I thought I had a roll of reflective tape. We're about to go to the truck store down the road and get some reflective tape. That's what we're gonna do. But while we're on the subject of trucks, let's talk about recommended actual trucks, like medium duties or heavy duties. I actually made a video, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I made a video all about trucks, like what kind of truck you should get, what category, basically what GVW are, if you're trying to say under CDL or over CDL, and I'm going to link this right up here somewhere. So check the link out, watch that video, because that video will talk about trucks. Me personally, I have rolled with the Hino, a medium duty truck, which was a Hino under CDL. It was a 33K GVWR, derated to 26K. We sold that. We actually now have the Mack truck. It's an MD6 or the MD7. We've got the medium duty 33,000K, derated also to 26K. I've had an International, which I still have the International truck, which is over CDL, 66K GVWR, and now we're rolling with a Kenworth 66K GVWR, big trucks. I really don't have like one preference. Kenworth, Peterbilt. Kenworth is way smoother, I'll tell you, than International though. Like the ride, it rides much better. But as far as, you know, brands, I'm not really, whatever is kind of available, whatever is in my price range. And really what's more important to me is the upfitting or the setup, the hook setup. And we're going to talk about that.
That's a great video.
I also get asked all the time, hey Josh, which hook lift should I get? And so I'm gonna go over several different options that you can go with. First option is gonna be the swap loader. I've had a swap loader since my first hook. The Hino had a swap loader, and the Mac both have swap loaders. I'll be 100% honest with you. I have never had an issue with a swap loader. They have both worked when I needed them to work. They both were adjustable, so 36-inch to 54-inch hook height, just exceptional. Like as long as you grease your system, you should never have a problem. So I never had an issue with the swap loader at all. So very impressed with swap loader, and I will continue to, if I have the opportunity, to buy without question a truck that has a swap loader setup on it for the future. Then I ended up getting a Pal Finger on the International, and the Pal Finger is, in my opinion, it's obviously way more heavy duty than the swap loader, but that's because I had the smaller swap loaders, right? I still haven't had a heavy duty 50,000 pounds, swap loader yet. But when I compare it, mine, obviously my Pal Finger is a 50K hook or 50K setup, and the swap loader is like 22,000 pounds. So it's obviously gonna be a lot more stout, a lot more heavy duty, but Pal Finger as well. Although I did have some small issues at the beginning when I first bought my International with the sensors. And that's one thing with the International, is that it's got these sensors on it, and when they go bad, and it's gonna really mess you up. So that's what happened. I had some issues with the sensors at first. Pal Finger did end up sending me somebody, I believe they were from Galveston actually, who is like a master tech in the Pal Finger. And in one day he was able to diagnose and fix it for me, and without a charge, without any charge. And I didn't even buy it new. It was a used system, no warranty, and they came out, they fixed it for me, and they left without even sending me a bill. So I thought that was incredible of them. So in my opinion, they won me over as a customer for life for something like that, because he could have charged me an arm and a leg for a full day's worth of repair, let alone, the travel from Houston or Galveston to here. And ever since then, zero issues, except for a few little fuses and stuff. I still have a fuse to replace, or a relay to replace in the setup. I actually like the Pal Finger. I have yet to have had a container, I think, that I haven't been able to pick up. There have been containers that have lifted up my truck, which I've refused to pick up, but nothing that I don't think that the Pal Finger could have handled. So super impressed. It is a 50K or a T50, it's what it's called, Pal Finger T50, 50,000 pound hook capacity with an adjustable hook from 54 inches to 62 inches hook height. Now, the Stellar, we're still on our honeymoon stage, right? So the Stellar and I, it's a very, very heavy duty setup. I like the speed of the Stellar. It's much faster than the swap loader and the Pal Finger, although that could be something to do with hydraulics and stuff like that, and how you have the valves set up. So what I don't like, unfortunately, is that the rails are much wider on the Stellar than any of the other ones that I've had. So the rails, it leaves a lot of room to play, and that's, I think, why it shifts side to side. The rollers is a poor design. The adjustable hook on hydraulics obviously is a poor design. I've got a video literally week one when I first brought the truck home and put it to work. We tore up the hydraulic lines on this box that it is honestly a pretty bad design, which they know of and they're fixing, but they honestly should stay standard with the other guys, in my opinion. Maybe they do it for some of their customers. I'm sure they got a lot bigger customers than I do. There's got to be a reason for it. But while their rails take standard rail dumpsters, they don't sit on Stellar like they do the Pal Finger or the swap loader. It just doesn't sit. There's a lot of room to play on a Stellar system. And then you've got the hook issue, right? And I haven't talked about this on the channel yet, but the hook on the Stellar that I have is 2 inches longer than the Powellfinger apparently in the swap loader. It needs 8 inches of clearance when the other two only need 6 inches of clearance when you're picking up a can. Which, because of that, it caused me to damage one of my dumpsters due to it getting stuck and just getting pinned in the corner. So why can't we, as manufacturers, and again, there's probably a reason for it. I'm sure they've got engineers and designers that are way smarter than I am, but as an end user, I would like to see, honestly, a system that is across the board the same amongst all different manufacturers. Again, why make it harder for us? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and switch out 50 plus cans because I've got a setup that needs an extra 2 inches of clearance. But it puts us in a bind. It puts us that are out here, hauling cans day in and day out in a situation where, while the can may sit on the system on the Stellar, okay, it could sit a lot better. It could be a little more snug. It could fit better. It could not shift side to side, and the hook could fit like the other ones do, in my opinion. I know that's going to be unpopular. I'm not here to knock anybody. If I had 2 trucks side by side that I was going to buy, I would definitely stick with the Powellfinger and the swap loader. Let's talk about software options. For software, you've got options. I've used a few of them over the years. And again, it's one of those things that's really based off of what you want, what you need. There's 3 major players that I guess I'll name off. I would suggest just looking into them. I'm not here to sell you anything, although I am affiliated with one of them. But I'll start in the order that I use them, right? So I started off with Docket. Docket is a very, very good system. I highly recommend you looking into them. It's called yourdocket.com, I believe. Check them out. They are a very good option in the dumpster industry. I used them before they ended up really expanding and offering things that I was looking for. So you've got Docket over here, which I've used, and they were a great option. They've gotten nothing but better over the years. You've got DRS, which is also a very good option. I used for 3 years and really enjoyed their system. And now I moved over to iCans. So iCans is the one I'm currently using. Very inexpensive, very, very good for a lot of guys that are starting out, and it's going to scale with you as you grow. So check those 3 out and see which one works for you. If you want to try out iCans, you can use it for 2 months for free with my link, my affiliate code below. Check them out. I mean, you've got other options out there, I believe, like Jobber and a company called Waste, and there's several other options out there, but I don't really know much about them, to be honest with you. Bam, look at that. That is not ice. We've talked about trucks, we've talked about hooks, we've talked about insurance, softwares. Obviously the next big thing is going to be cans, right? Dumpsters. Where do you buy dumpsters from? Hoping that you don't go the route of proprietary, but even if you do, there are companies that can actually build you quality dumpsters that will last you a very, very, very long time for a very good price. When I had my Lone Star trailer, I had to buy proprietary Lone Star dumpsters, and I was paying considerably more than once I reached out to Keystone and got my cans from them for the Lone Star. They actually built me dumpsters that fit my Lone Star trailer, and it was better quality, much thicker material, way better welds and everything, lasts a heck of a lot longer. It's definitely the commercial grade versus the consumer grade, and I still paid less than what I paid Lone Star because Lone Star was proprietary. They made their money after the sale of the trailer, right? They give you a trailer that's very, very cheap, and then they hook you buying dumpsters from them so that they can continue to make a lot more money off of you. So at the end of the day, you go to an actual dumpster manufacturer, a commercial dumpster manufacturer. These dumpsters will last 10, 15, 20 years. If they rust, if they go bad, you just fix it and move on. Keep renting it out. I've mentioned them before. I'll mention them again. Keystone out of Rome, Texas is who I use. But there's a couple other ones that I would recommend based off of other people that I respect in the industry. And it also depends on where you are in the country, right? Keystone might not like this, but let's be honest, it won't make sense really if you're on like New York to get dumpsters shipped all the way from Texas or Ohio, because Keystone has a second location in Ohio, to let's say New York, when if you might have somebody else local to you that you can save on shipping, or let's say Florida, right? I would just say I personally use Keystone. I recommend them 1000%. I've got a phone number and a contact that you can reach right here. You're gonna wanna talk to Don if you wanna get some pricing, but definitely let them know American AF sent you. But there's also a couple other ones. So you've got, I mentioned them before, Evolution Welding out of Florida. Those guys build a quality dumpster from what I can see. Again, no personal experience, but I just like to recommend things that I know that I hear really good things about, right? There's another company in Florida, I won't name names, but they require a deposit up front, and years ago, it's been a while since I've heard of them. They might even be out of business, but I heard that they were even keeping deposits. So be careful paying up front. So I would just say Evolution Welding. Again, you've got Keystone 2.0 over in Ohio, and then you've got Matt Corporation that I've heard nothing but good things about. Seems like they're a very respectable company, family owned, and they build a quality product. So don't know them personally, never even talked to them personally, to be honest with you, but I've seen what they've built and I respect the grind. There's another one that I've heard of in the East Coast. I believe it's called Bucks Manufacturing or something like that. Don't know them personally, but I've heard nothing but good things about them as well. And those are the only ones that I personally know of, that I've heard of, or that I know of other people personally that have used them. So you definitely have those options. I would definitely give them a call and get some pricing. You've got your dumpster, you've got your truck, you're ready to roll. How do you market? So you've got several options, right? First and foremost, you're either gonna pay to play or you're gonna pay to rank organically, right? And eventually, hopefully not pay. So I've always said, in my opinion, if you're first starting out a business, you want that phone calls, you want those phone calls to come in right away. You want to be able to get in front of people as fast as you possibly can to start making some money. So I would always recommend, depends on your number of cans, but I would recommend paying to play a little bit, which means do all the free stuff you can possibly do. Do Yelp, make sure your Google My Business page is up, do Yellow Pages, do Facebook marketing, go to all the Facebook groups that you're in your area and become the local expert for trash, dumpsters, haul off, junk removal, whatever it is in your local Facebook pages. All right. So make sure that you are just present everywhere that you can be for free. And then you pay to play, right? After you start making a little bit of money, hopefully you pay to play, which means you pay for Google AdWords. Some guys might not like that, and that's fine. It's up to you. I pay for Google AdWords until my organic work, my SEO on my website starts ranking up, right? So as, let's say you're paying Google ads, your Google ads are kind of going up, and you're also doing SEO, and your SEO is going up. As soon as my SEO, my organic ranking starts to overpass my paid ads, I'll start bringing my ads down, and I'll let the organic rankings start taking over. But until then, I'm paying for AdWords. The more real estate that you own on the Google homepage, the better it is. Not the homepage, but the Google page, the search results. So the more real estate you own, meaning if you show up in sponsored listings, if you show up in Google Business page on the map pack, and then if you show up organically, that right there, you have 3 listings on hopefully the first page of Google when based off the keywords that people are searching for your search terms. Then you want to find out how to price yourself. Make sure that you're not losing money, right? You want to be profitable, but you want to not overprice yourself. It's a fine line between being way too cheap and then being way too expensive, right? At the end of the day, you don't want to be the cheapest, you don't want to be the most expensive. You have to calculate your own costs, your own overhead. What's your overhead? What are your fixed costs? What are your variable costs? How much you want to profit? All that stuff. If you want to start out and make it easy for yourself, I would call around the competition and find out what they're charging. But that's not what you should charge. You should charge based on your rates. So if I want to be a profitable business and be at 25 or 30%, well then I'm gonna take all my fixed costs and then my variable costs, and I'm gonna add 30% to that and kind of guesstimate how many dumpsters I'm gonna do. All that stuff. Break it down by the dumpster, break it down. Make sure you know what your landfill fees are. Make sure you're calling around to all the landfills. Find out what they're going to charge you, because a lot of guys will get into business and then they find out A, their city won't even allow dumpsters by a private company, or B, some of the landfills won't even take outside companies. So call around. Do this before you before you do anything, call around the landfills, find out if you can dump there and how much they would charge you. I've gotten several phone calls in the past where people are like, Josh, I bought all this equipment, I bought a whole package deal, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I found out I can't even do dumpsters in my city. Well, it's probably something you should have checked before you went out and spent all that money. You've got to do your own research. Like literally, I'm giving you golden nuggets. I'm giving you tips and vendors that you can get to. But at the end of the day, you've got to do your own research as well. Nobody told me about, it took me years to find out about Keystone or about, you know, actual dumpster manufacturers that are out there. It took me a long time to find out and learn the hard way. You know, what's the best option to get into? What's the best roll-off trailer to get into? Or the difference between standard rail and non-standard rail. I mean, that wasn't even a thing when I first started. At least it wasn't a thing publicly, at least in my circles or in things that I've heard. Contracts. That's a whole nother thing. Everybody always asks about contracts. Should you send a contract out? Well, if you have a good software, your software will send it out for you. You know, contracts, you can easily use something like ChatGPT to print you out, to make you out a contract. I've got some contracts that I use that I've got for sale. Literally right here under this video, there's like a little store or a little product page, and it's got contracts on there. But I'm gonna be honest with you, don't spend your money on that unless you really want to. Have ChatGPT make you out one, and you'll have no issues, like for the most part. Or, I mean, if you really want, pay an attorney to do it. You know, most attorneys will look over your contract, actually have ChatGPT do the original one, and then they might charge you 500 bucks, something not too bad, to look it over and make it more customized, make sure it's all like legal. Another question I get a lot is, where do you park your dumpsters? Obviously now I've got a shop, but for 5 years I didn't have a shop. You park wherever you can for free at the end of the day, right? If you can park at your house, if you can park at a buddy's house, if you know a friend who owns a piece of land, park there. If you absolutely have to pay for it, find truck parking. There's plenty of truck parking lots, and usually in your industrial area in your city, where you can pay per spot, right? So you pay one truck spot, and you can park 3 dumpsters plus a truck maybe, or 2 dumpsters plus a truck, and that's what you do. Find a storage container place or storage place that offers outdoor parking, and do that if you absolutely have to. But if you can do free is better than anything. All right, so I think I've touched on, for the most part, most questions, or the most common questions, right, on getting started in this business, how to get started, and things that you'll need to get started. Like I said, you want to make sure, don't mess around with taxes. That's a whole nother thing that I want to tell you guys. Some states will require you to charge sales tax. Texas requires you to charge sales tax. If you're here in Texas, you are supposed to charge sales tax on every single dumpster rental. There's no getting around it. There's no easy fix. There's no, you're not going to outsmart the IRS or the state, you know, comptroller's office. We are required to charge sales tax, and I pay it on the monthly basis. Make sure that you're doing that. You don't want to screw up and owe the IRS money or the state money, because they will come after you. They come after you a lot harder than any credit company would, right? The state, the IRS, those liens do not drop ever. 7 years bad credit, that's one thing, but state and IRS, they never drop. They'll stay with you forever. So don't screw that up. Get an accountant at the end of the day. Like, get a bookkeeper to do your bookkeeping, and get an accountant to do your taxes at the end of the year, if you can. So a good bookkeeper alongside of QuickBooks will give you a monthly profit and loss statement, a monthly balance sheet, kind of let you know if you're profitable or not, where you're at, and keep track of all your assets. I'm gonna leave you guys with one last piece of advice. In my opinion, it's very hard to scale a company and grow if you continue to be behind the wheel. At some point, you've got to step back and play the owner CEO role versus the owner operator behind the wheel driver role. It may take you a year, it may take you 5 years, it may take you 10. Maybe you like being behind the wheel. But I think, and this is kind of where I'm at currently, I think that an owner's role to scale their business and to grow, at some point you've got to get out from behind the wheel and focus on growing the business. Anyways, guys, I think with that, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Don't forget to like that Facebook page. Hit up those vendors down below. If you have any questions, ask them down below. We're gonna make that, like I said, we're gonna do more of a Q&A style videos, maybe once a month. where we're going to be answering your questions at the end of or during the videos. And if you have any questions for me about the franchise or anything like that, visit our website. The website is AmericanAFDumpsters.com. As always, I thank you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one.